Along with the characteristics of the living system that I spoke of before, there's always this natural tension that's playing out in our lives, in our organizations. There's this dance that's naturally taking place between chaos. It's just there. And natural order. Those trees, there's an order to them. There's an order to how they grow. There's an order to, and yet, fires can come along. Things can change. Chaos can enter. Chaos will enter. A bad winter will happen. So these are naturally occurring things. And what's interesting about this naturally occurring processes is this space in here. Because it's the space in here where learning takes place, where emergence is happening. Think about it. Anytime you've learned something, it's usually not been because you just sat down and thought that was cool to learn. It's because there was some kind of tension. It may have been that it was cool to learn, but you were feeling something that caused you to pay attention. So there was some level, it may not have been, utter chaos, but there's some tension that needed learning, and order came into play to do that. So this is always at play in you and in your organization. What often happens is when we get really anxious about chaos is that we start to exhibit control. And there's nothing inherently wrong with control. The problem is when it gets too extreme. Control is person-made. These are naturally occurring. There's another piece out here that we've labeled, use the Greek term homos, or extreme chaos. We talked about Zimbabwe. Go there and you'll see this. Extreme chaos. You'll see men lying on the side of the road asleep. You'll see people drunk. Because this space and this space tend to produce the same thing. They either will produce apathy or rebellion.
What is it called, the red one?
We call it a Greek word homos. It's just extreme chaos. These two are really person-made. Oftentimes, I look at these as like a chain this way. Too much control. Mugabe, who's the dictator there, creates this. They don't tend to be rebellious people. And so you see men, particularly, go to sleep. They go to sleep in different ways. In organizations, too much control gets put on us, we go to sleep. Mm-hmm. Why is this important? Again, personally, so my goal as the leader of our organizations is to try to keep us in this space as much as possible. That's where we're inventing, that's where we're learning, that's where new's happening. I have found that the hosting methodologies respond to this natural system, and I believe we stay in that space more often than we don't because of the way we operate. I had a new CFO a few years ago, and she said, Phil, the handbook, the employee handbook hasn't been redone in years. And I said, good, why don't you redo it? If it's more than 4 pages, throw it out. I don't want more than 4 pages of rules. We don't need them. These circles take care of that. We have 3 principles that we operate on in our organization. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of this place. Those 3 rules and hosting process there's just not a lot of need for there to be a whole big, thick employee handbook. I completely understand, I'm talking about an organization of 35 people. And I'm not pretending to, like I said, I've only speculated in my head how I'd work with it if it was 200 or 1,000. But I use it just simply as an example of how one can think about and understand your organization as a really living system, which is what it is regardless of how people have made it. That's what's going on, and how what you're learning here can support natural processes, including learning.